Welcome to Buns, Burgers, and Big Ideas, the go-to podcast for aspiring and seasoned leaders in the quick service restaurant industry. Each week, we serve up actionable insights and proven strategies to help you lead smarter, build stronger teams, and elevate operations. Whether you're taking your first steps into leadership or refining your expertise, we're here to fuel your growth and spark big ideas. Let's dig in.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Riley.
Good morning, Eric. How are you?
Yeah, it's really good. I'm glad you're here. I'm excited to spend the next, 20, 25 minutes, like 30. How long are we going to take today?
Probably 20.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
You're going to be here for a long time, people. Hey, Riley, we need to talk.
Yeah?
Yeah, we need to talk.
Oh, man.
Yeah, like there's some things that like just we have to discuss these things.
Okay.
And so right away, like hard conversations, right?
Yeah.
I love the topic. So thank you for coming up with some content today.
Yeah.
Because I think some practical application around just having hard conversations is something that we all do, but we tend to shy away from.
And it's really hard to get better at because, again, we avoid them, you know? So we want to talk about some things that you can do or things that you can maybe do to make it easier to have those hard conversations.
Yeah, because I love it. I love when your boss comes to you and says, hey, we need to talk.
Oh, gets me every time. I'm like, oh.
Right? It's true. Come see me in the,
like the principal's office.
Yeah. Come meet me in the office.
Yeah.
Or we're gonna go to the back room. Or, let's go out in the lobby. Right? Like there's always that we need to talk.
Yeah.
And that's that dreadful, like, oh my gosh, right? Like
pit in the stomach.
My bosses.
Yeah.
So think about how they feel too, and we feel going into these conversations. Like they're all hard. They can start out super hard. But I will tell you there's a silver lining though, because as you have these more and as you have them more consistently, I'm going to tell you flat out, Riley, like I don't know if they ever become easy, right? Like I don't want to give you false,
maybe?
but you get more comfortable. You start to find a balance between like that gut wrenching, like, oh my gosh, I got to go tell this person that. Well, we're not going to say they suck.
With opportunity, people with opportunities.
All right, so we're going to talk to our low performers, our people with opportunities, right? We're going to look to have a conversation around something that they're not performing well on. Mm-hmm. So, how do we even get started on that?
Well, I think part of it is your intentions. We talk a lot about intentions on this podcast. We do, because they're so important at the beginning of any really manager crew relationship, or we talked about level 2 leadership the other day. It's important to start with those clear intentions. And if you have that rapport with them, if you've worked through level 1 and you're starting to get into level 2 and you know this person, those hard conversations are just a little bit easier.
Sure.
Or more comfortable because you have a way to bring up those things because they know your intentions. They know you care. Mm-hmm. But if they don't know you care, it comes off as that gut-wrenching principal's office, like, oh no.
Yeah.
So finding that way to build, I think the relationship is a huge piece of it, and just disarming them with your intention. And again, it's your tone and your body language.
Okay.
If I come to Eric, we need to talk. Mm-hmm. Let's go to the office. Mm-hmm. Automatically, I know you're mad, or because you're carrying yourself in that way.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just because you are mad about the situation. Sure. But as a leader, you have to temper that, and it's all about your delivery.
So you're saying though that you need to be in the right headspace before you even go into this conversation.
Absolutely.
Because I know I've been there before, right? You walk in. Let's just say you walk in. This is dirty. That's not stocked, right? There's 30 cars in the drive-through. Maybe your boss just told you something that you don't like, right? Or maybe you had a bad morning because you spilt your milk or something like that, right? Like, but things happen, right? And then all of a sudden we go into this and something sparks that next. Hey, we need to talk.
That level 1 conversation where it's like, I'm your manager, this isn't clean. It could, like to your point, anything could have set you off. Any trigger could have made you behave that way.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say if you're in that mindset, you might need to look at yourself first, right? Like before you go and have, and that might be a completely different conversation, but if you're going to go into a hard conversation, I think you, as that leader, need to be prepared for it, right? Like the prepping of the hard conversation, I think is sometimes that we don't do, right? Like we go in and we say, hey, we're like, this is going to be a hard conversation. Let's go do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do we prepare maybe a little bit more for this conversation?
Facts, black and white.
Yeah.
You got to have. I don't want to say like an I gotcha, like, oh, gotcha, you're really slow.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't want to do that, but I need some supporting material to aid me in that conversation. And again, to be intentional and saying, hey, you're not like in trouble, but we're going to have a conversation about your cleanliness during your shifts.
Sure.
And however that comes to fruition, you want to be able to talk to them about that.
Mm-hmm.
So having that, maybe some cleanliness scores, maybe some feedback from the team, or however whatever that data looks like, that can help. I think
that's great.
Yeah.
No, that's a really good point. Is having those black and white facts, right? Like this is an us conversation based around facts, not feelings, right? And I think sometimes we have conversations based off feelings. Well, that's not clean. Well, it might be clean to them. So I think as you go into these hard conversations, think about the fact of like, did you level set already? Do they know your expectations?
Have you done your part as a leader? Yeah.
And because it's not fair if all of a sudden you're going to go into this and you haven't set that standard. So let's just say that the standards are set, the goals are set, you're prepared, you're in a good mind space, you have some black and white, right, to help you identify, right? Maybe there is the cleanliness score, maybe there's the shift times and the practical application, maybe the pre-shift, shift sheets, like whatever that baseline is, let's just say that that's there, and now they're not doing the pre-shifts, right? So you and I, we're going to have a conversation. Hey, Riley, right? Like, so how do we start those conversations? How do we start that hard conversation? Because I don't necessarily want it to be rainbows and butterflies either, right?
Correct.
Because this hard conversation with a low performer, like we have to help them understand that this is a serious thing. Not that they're in trouble, but like they're going to have to do something differently moving forward. So just back to, I guess, the question, like when you go into these conversations, Riley, we need to talk. Hey, Riley, what do we do? Like, start me. How do I start that?
Oh gosh, I want to say something first though.
Yeah.
So I think it also matters, or not matters. It plays a part in how many conversations you've had with this person, right? I think that can also be like, if this is the first conversation you've had with this person, and typically they are a higher performer, or they're a spot-on employee, or whatever the case may be, and this is the first time, then it can be a little bit more easygoing, and more conversation. Yeah. Where if this is like the sixth time, then it becomes more like, okay, this is it. So the conversation at this stage at the beginning would be like, hey, Eric, I just wanted to sit down, talk with you about some of the things I've noticed, and I just want to let you know, my intention is to make us better as a team, make you better so we can all be better. Yeah. And I just want to talk with you about it. Is that okay?
I love that. You set the table. Like, it depending on how you want to think about it. Like, you have to set the table, right? Like, here's where we're at, and here's the intent of the conversation. Here's what I want. Like, I want to listen to what you have to say, right? I want to make sure that your body language, your behavior, you're being receptive. I put you in a position to where you're not feeling trapped or, right? Like, that I'm attacking you.
Yeah, because that's completely different than the level 1 or manager type, let's talk.
Yeah.
Oops.
Can I also say that sometimes we go into hard conversations without practicing the hard conversation? Like sometimes, like if I'm going to go talk to you, right, about this hard conversation, maybe I should go find somebody to work this through. Like maybe I should go to my boss or a peer and say, hey, I'm about to go to Riley and I need him to, do his pre-shifts more, right? Can I practice that with you? Because we don't practice hard conversations enough.
Well, we've talked about role play before and interacting with guests and all those good things. So, yeah, absolutely, leadership practice too. It's how you hone your skills.
It's the silliest thing, and it's funny because I wish I would have role played more with my boss. But like my practice has been just having the conversations now, right?
Yeah, like, going through it.
Yeah, because so now it's like I said, it's not necessarily easy to always have hard conversations, but I think as we've built that level 2 relationship level, like people are more receptive to those feedbacks. So I think building a base foundation of level 2 leadership is important. Building that relationship is important. Role playing, right? Like you have to set the targets first of all. Role play the hard conversation, and then make sure that the person is aware, right? Like when we go down, hey, my intent is to make us better and to make you better. Yeah. So Riley, I think you were spot on as far as like just setting the table for that conversation. So now we're in it, and we typically like to kind of build this compliment sandwich. Like, I don't know if you've heard of this before, right? But the what do they call it? The compliment or the feedback sandwich, compliment sandwich, something like that, where it's like, I'm going to tell you something positive, right? I'm going to give you something to critique, and then I'm going to end it with something positive. Hey, Riley, I really like the socks you wore today. By the way, you're terrible at pre-shifts. Oh, and, nice job with this, right? So, like, that can be good, but it also can be misleading. So, just your thoughts on what that should or could look like, depending on the hard conversations?
On the hard conversation front, I think you have the luxury of more time. So the complimentary sandwich necessarily, and you're there for a development reason.
Okay.
In passing or on the floor coaching, that feedback method might be really well suited. But if you're having a conversation, it might be, you just sum it down just a little bit more. So it might be, hey, what do you think went well? And ask them. You can obviously have your opinion, but hey, Eric, what do you think went really well during your last shift? And then they might be like, oh, you know what? We were so fast. Like, we had great times and, everybody was happy. Cool. And then the next part of it is even better if. What would be even better if you did X, Y, Z? Yeah. And again, you ask them, oh, you know what? I know my cleanliness wasn't super great because we were busy and we were focused on being fast. So it would be even better if I, had some time or, delegated somebody to go clean the lobby. And now they're sharing that with you. Now that's probably a great scenario, but maybe they don't say that and be like, cool, here's my feedback. And then you do the same thing. Hey, I agree. You were super fast. But, your even better if was, you missed some breaks or something.
Sure.
But my even better if is cleanliness. Yeah. So now how do we have a conversation about the difference in our EBI?
Sure. Because and EBI is the even better if.
Yeah, sorry.
Right? Like,
yes.
Yeah, great acronyms. I love it. For myself, maybe. But because I think if you've properly set some expectations and goals, they might automatically go to you and say, "Hey, I know that I fell short of your expectations by not doing my pre-shift."
That's level 2 right there.
Like if they know your expectations, they're probably going to get there without you having to be there. They're going to say, "You're right. I had a really good shift. I did these things well, but it could have been better if I had done my pre-shift like we've talked about." Right? Like that would be you saying, "Hey, you're level 3 leader because now you're producing. Now people are coming to you and saying, "Hey, here's what I did and here's where I know."
Before you even have that hard conversation.
Before you even have to have like the hard conversation. But I to your point, sometimes people aren't going to get there just through general conversation. Well, what would be better if? Well, it'd be better if you got laid off of me, right?
Leave me alone.
Yeah, it'd be better if you just let me do my job, instead of critiquing every little thing I do, Eric. But for the people who aren't going to get there, you have to, and this is where preparation comes, because they might go in 37 different directions, and you have to role play, and you have to be prepared for every single direction that could go.
Yeah.
And if you're not prepared for that, I think it's also okay to say, I didn't really think about that. That's a good point. Maybe we can circle back, right? Like you don't always have to give that answer right away, too.
For sure.
Because there are situations where people have come to me, I'm like, oh, shoot. And now I'm trying to make something up. So, I'm trying to give an answer to a question. I have no idea what I'm talking about. And I think that ruins relationships too. So if they know your vision, it's probably going to be easier. And I think if they know your intent, these hard conversations are going to be a little bit easier. And just like I said, just as you're going through that, listen to what they're doing. Listen to their behavior. If they sit back and cross their arms and maybe they're just looking away or rolling their eyes or whatever that is, like maybe you just need to pause that conversation too. Hey, maybe you haven't taken the time. Like, did you also give them a heads up?
Right.
Like, hey, I want to talk about
Don't blindside them necessarily.
Yeah. And that's it's in the real world, fast-paced world, that can be hard.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you a question too, because it just popped in my head. Do you think so hey Riley, I want to have a conversation with you this time, I'll be there, Do you believe starting the meeting and go straight into the intention and straight into what that is? Or do you want to again, I don't want to say break the ice, but essentially take a couple minutes just to, chill? Or do you want to just boom right into it? Yeah. Maybe it depends.
I think if you're going into and you say, hey Riley, we need to talk, they're waiting for the hammer. Right. Like I think once again, the people, the person, the relationship, the conversation might be a little bit different for every example, which is once again where it's good to role play. And I know I'm repeating myself there, but ultimately I think there's something to be like I'm a CD, I'm a designer, I'm like fact-based, and let's just get down to business, right? Like, let's just, Riley, hey, we need to talk, and here's what I need, and here's what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I think knowing yourself is important, and knowing your people is even more important. So, but yeah, they're waiting for you at that point. I think they're waiting for you to drop that hammer. So I think starting the conversation with, hey, my intent is to have a conversation around the fact of like pre-shifts, and just tell me where you're at, tell me more about that, tell me what that looks like to you, and let's just make sure. Like, I think it's okay to say, tell me more about this, or tell me where tell me where we fell short today.
Yeah.
Right. Tell me where we fell short, and then they're going to say, I could, depending on where that conversation leads. Hey, you're right. I know I didn't do my pre-shift. Eric, I got you. Okay, cool. What do you need from me, or what do you need in order to be successful the next time? Right. Like, bridge that gap, and try to bridge it right away. Like, what do you need for the next time to be successful, instead of lingering on the past? Right. Because if you judge me by my worst, right, like, you can easily judge me by my worst day.
Yeah.
But I want to do better, and
people want to do better. Yeah,
they want to be successful, and people want to know that you have their back, right? Like, once again, the relationship, like, cool, Riley, you fell short, but I know you've got this,
right?
And I think it's not the compliment sandwich; it's, hey, I know you've got this.
Yeah, the support.
Yeah.
These people with opportunities, right? So I mentioned earlier, it depends on if you're having like the first conversation or like the fifth conversation. What is that? I mean, I think there's a difference, right? Like, there's a difference between, hey, I know you've got this, but then what if Riley forgets his pre-shift in a month, and then in another month, and then he just keeps forgetting them, or whatever the case is? What does that conversation look like?
Yeah, and that's the one, right? That's where, like, when do we go from
almost like a coaching conversation, a collaborative conversation about your development and your knowledge and your performance versus, okay,
you're becoming a detriment to the team.
You're not pulling your weight now.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about this 3-4 times.
Yeah.
And I've supported you. I've asked you what you needed, and I've provided, again, assuming you provided, because again, you can have 12 conversations, but if you don't provide or support the way they're asking, then
good. So before you go into those, which might be, hey, this isn't the job for you conversation, what I would ask as a leader in our organization, I think as a leader in general, is have you had consistent conversations, consistent enough to help them be successful?
Right.
Because and we'll just use the pre-shift as an example. If I go to you today and I say, hey, Riley, I need your pre-shifts done, and then I come to you 3 months and say, hey, Riley, you haven't done pre-shifts for 3 months, right? Like, that's you as a leader not doing your job.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
So I think the check-ins, right, are important. If it's something so serious where it could jeopardize their position or their job, you have to be more available. You have to get those one-on-ones consistently. You have to show them, and they have to show you their results more consistently. So, hey, I did 4 out of 5 pre-shifts this week. Next week I did 4 out of 5, and then I went to maybe 2 out of 5 or 1 out of 5. Like, they've now shown you that they can do it, right? Like, that's part of my other question is, like, have they shown you that they actually can be successful at doing what you're asking of them? Because if not, that's again back on you as a leader to help show them that they can be. But if they have shown you success and then they're just simply not doing, now you're questioning, okay, the motivation of that position, right? And I think it's fair to say, as long as you're having consistent conversations and they've been able to show you that they can do it, then that conversation around, hey, this might not be the job for you, should, once again, not necessarily easier, but they should see it coming, right? Like, there should be a mutual agreement of, hey, Riley, we've agreed to these things. You've shown me you've been able to do it, and you're simply not doing. They should know that. And I think as we've set better standards and as we've set goals and as we've had consistent conversations around the results that we're looking for, when we're having these hard conversations with low performers, most of the people, if they're looking at the results, they know.
They know.
The scorecards. And it's not always a fun conversation, but they know. And I've had enough conversations now where, like, I saw this coming, right? Like, now you know as a leader that you've done your job, right? Like, I've seen this coming. You're right, Eric. Yep, I've fallen short, and maybe it's not the right position for me. Like, they may not go out and tell you because nobody wants to lose position. Nobody wants to lose money. Nobody wants to lose their job necessarily. But they see it and they know it. And if you've done everything that you're supposed to do, that's a clear indicator, Riley, of did you do your job, right? Like, did you personally
support,
do your job to get them to understand their role?
They understand it, they just didn't.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I've had those conversations in the past. Well, if you had just told me, right? Because I think that's fair. I think it's a fair statement from your employee. If you had just told me what you expected of me, if you had just given me the opportunity, if you had just shown me what you wanted from me, then we wouldn't be here. Those
clear expectations make holding people accountable easier.
Yep.
And not that accountability is a good thing, though. To your point, that employees, I saw it coming.
Yep.
That is essentially them being accountable.
Yep.
Because they know that they weren't performing to your standard, and it's sitting right there on paper.
Yep.
So yeah, that's awesome. I mean, these conversations, like you said, it takes practice. It takes learning and listening and observing your team to make these conversations just a little bit more comfortable for both ends.
What I would ask as you're looking to have hard conversations is do the preparation. Make sure you've set clear boundaries. Make sure you've set clear expectations, right? Don't just tomorrow all of a sudden start having hard conversations with everybody, but you have to start them. Yeah. You have to start them with the intent that you want your people first to be successful. You have to start them with the intent that you want people to do well in their roles and in their jobs. And you're looking to serve them with the right intent. And as long as you're doing that, those hard conversations and the practice behind those do become just
natural.
Much more natural.
Those one-on-ones and all that good stuff. Absolutely.
So don't wait.
Don't wait.
Yeah. People want to know what they're doing, and people want to know what it looks like to you to show them that you are and they can be successful. So I appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate
thanks for practicing.
And we'll have to role play some.
Yes, we will. We will. And we'll make sure the cameras are recording.
Right.
So we can put that on there too.
Yeah. Oh, hopefully they are. Riley had me hit the record button today. So let's do this. Let's have those conversations. People want to know where your expectations are for everybody, and I'm excited that you took the time today to listen. Yeah,
listen, learn, and lead. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us on Buns, Burgers, and Big Ideas. We hope today's episode inspired fresh ideas for your leadership journey. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and keep learning with us as we continue to explore leadership in the QSR world. Until next time, take care and lead well.